Hi, hello everyone. I'm just going to pick right back up where I left off about church abuse and everything that I pretty much encountered at this time. So still at the Overcomers or Burden Bear Ministries church, and at this time James is still incarcerated. And I am going to the church on my own with my sister kids, with my kids. And what I found to be over the years at this church, whenever there is something personal happening within the family, they will turn it into a sermon and say it was something that God gave to them. And for instance, me going into the church as James's girlfriend at the time, one of the sermons that was done about me was, and I didn't realize it right away, but the sermon was about steak on a trash can lid. And that really stuck out to me because I remember a Cosby show from when I was a kid, and he referred to someone as steak on a trash can lid as far as how they were being presented. Right now, today, that doesn't make sense to me, because why would I be the steak on a trash can lid and I wasn't the one that was incarcerated? But that's pretty much how most of the sermons went, from people in the family being gay, people in the family, just whatever the family issue was, for some reason always turned into a sermon. And it was actually a way to bully and put you in a position to where you can't really say anything, because everyone already knew what was going on. Everybody knew who those sermons was about. And so you're basically just in church looking crazy while you're being attacked verbally in the name of God and, based on the Holy Bible. One of the things that my ex would do at the time was he became, I guess they gave him the title of youth minister. And I remember a lot of his sermons, but a few that stuck out because it was probably the most popular among the church members was themed slow jams. And it was themed slow jams behind songs like Before I Let Go and Can You Stand the Rain? All right. So one day I was using the laptop for something, I don't remember, probably homework, because I think I was working on my bachelor's degree at the time. And I pulled up, for some reason when I logged in, YouTube came up, and there was a pastor there that had the same theme of slow jams and also had the same titles of Before I Let Go and Can You Stand the Rain? And I said, okay, maybe he just borrowed the titles, which is fine, because a lot of ministers do that. They borrow themes, they borrow titles of sermons, things of that nature is perfectly fine. But once I hit the play button, it was literally word for word what the pastor was saying, with the exception of, he would change a few words, or the tone. He would change the words, some of the words, and some of the tone of the context. And so when I asked about this, of course he became very aggressive, very aggravated, didn't want me to ask him anything else about church, because according to him, it just wasn't my business. But those of you that went to Burden Bear Ministries or Overcomers Church at the time when it was open, you can go back and listen to those CDs, because I know a lot of people purchase those CDs. I don't have one. But you can go back and listen to those CDs, pull up on YouTube. Again, when you pull up slow jams, and as far as the theme of a sermon, you're going to see a lot of preachers with those sermons as far as the title is concerned, but just go back and listen to it. Another thing that really got me to the point to where I did not want to go to the church anymore. And again, James is out of jail at this time. For some reason, he would always tell me each and every single Sunday, whenever we got back in the car, whenever we got into the car, getting ready to go home or on the way home, why are you always looking like that? You always making my mom upset. And what are you talking about? Well, my mom said that you were looking crazy. How am I looking crazy? We're in church. I'm looking at whoever the person is that's preaching at the time, or I'm looking at my Bible, which is on my phone or whatever. This literally went on for over a year. And again, it got to the point to where I just didn't even want to go anymore. And I was already uncomfortable talking to his mother anyway, just based on the treatment I was already receiving at this church. Once time goes by, maybe a year or so before COVID happens, now the family is starting to accept the fact that we are married, and I'm given, I guess, a job to do in the church. So whenever the first lady wasn't in church, or if she was ill, I would do the introductions, welcomings, messages, whatever, before the pastor would come on, or whoever was preaching at the time. And it was a script. They want you to read the script. So I read the script. The script included how to say, hello, and, the welcomes you should say. And it also had the prayer, which is fine. I don't really care about that. Whenever that would happen, I couldn't even get to my seat good without people, mainly 2 or 3 people that come up to hug you, because now it's their turn to come up and they're whispering in my ear, you could have really done a little better. You didn't sound very much like the first lady. She would have done it this way, or she would have done it that way. But, you just keep working on it. You did okay. I don't want to sound like the first lady. I'm not the first lady. I don't want to be nobody's first lady. All right. But again, that's more of just another example of the antagonistic nature of that church and the people within that church. Every so often, the church would have meetings. One of the last meetings that I remember, it was about the church members, aka the family members, complaining about wanting people to sit in a particular area of the church. My issue with that, and why I gave some pushback, was it's not your business where I sit. The only business you have in church is the development of your relationship with God and the betterment of your life, the improvement of your life. The spiritual advancement of your life, not where other people are sitting. That's just the controlling nature of it all. And it was absolutely insane. So now here comes COVID, and I'm so happy that COVID-19 hit. COVID was the perfect reason to shut the church down. And eventually the church does go and start to put the sermons and everything on YouTube, like most people were at that time. And so now the process of closing the church. And what I'm going to share isn't something that is my opinion. These are things that were told to me by James, by my ex at the time. And it's important to understand why I'm telling you the things that he told me, because it segues into the beginning, or what I think is the beginning of the smear campaign leading up to the discord, which is what I explained about the hurricane in Florida on my first video. Okay, so again, me and James at the time, we had conversations. We had a lot of conversations about how I felt uncomfortable in the church, especially after that sermon that, the pastor did about the steak on a trash can lid. And I also gave some pushback about being told where to sit in the church, because all those things, whenever I would say anything, whenever I would stand up for myself in any way, form, or fashion, the topic did not matter. I was considered ghetto. I was considered hood or whatever. what's crazy is the judgment from people that are supposed to be Christians. Now, according to what my ex told me at the time, one of his siblings had to blow into a pipe before they could drive the car. These are things he's telling me as far as why I shouldn't feel bad about sermons being about me. One of his siblings had to blow into a pipe before driving the car because of multiple DWI arrests. Another sibling will never be happy, can't find a good man, can't make a relationship work because they're attracted to gay men. Okay, these are not things I know to be certain or to be true. These are just things that was told to me. So why is what I'm told important? Because everyone involved with James, he has told a story like that about them and me. And it's all about the smear campaign. In addition to smearing, it's about isolation. All right, so the whole purpose of the smear campaign was to isolate me and my son from not just James's family, but from our own family as well. So he was able to control us and manipulate the situation better. The mistake I made and what made the smear campaign and the isolation work in his favor was my bright idea to find a job in Virginia, because that really just made things worse. And I'll get more into that as well. So I knew the smear campaign was in full effect when phone conversations, and at this point we're in Virginia, phone conversations started getting strange. For example, and the example I'm giving is coming from a time when, again, we're in Virginia, and since we've moved to Virginia, James is hardly ever at the house. He spends 2 to 3 weeks at a time in Houston, and when he is here, he's by his brother's house. So with this instance, he says, well, he's getting ready to go by his brother's house, right? One of his brothers stay in DC, and this is happening again. And I explained to him that it's bothering me. I'm tired of you always leaving the house. I'm tired of you, always leaving us here. We had nothing to do. His response to me was, "You miss your husband, don't you?" And I said, yeah. I said, moving here to Virginia, all we talked about was how it was going to bring us closer together because, there's not any family here or whatever. For me, there's no family. For him, he had his brother. So he leaves the house saying he'll be back. He's going to help his brother do something, right? So he's gone and now I'm in the shower, and I'm an 80s baby. I love music, so anything and everything that I do, I'm always playing music. But I'm listening to my music. I'm in a shower, and I hear the phone ring. But I didn't hear the phone ring. I hear the notifications go off. So typically, for most people, I'll ignore it. But with my ex, it doesn't matter the situation. When he calls, answer the phone. That expectation was established while he was incarcerated. I couldn't type up a response, so I hit one of the automated responses that popped up to his message, which he said, "Hey, I made it." The response I hit was, "Oh, okay." So as I'm getting out the shower, he calls me, and of course I answer the phone. He says, "Why are you responding to me like that?" Like, he's angry, he's yelling, he's clearly upset. I said, "Babe, I was in the shower. I just hit an automated message, no big deal." He proceeds yelling, being angry, saying, "See, that's what the hell I be talking about. You so damn disrespectful." And in my mind, I'm like, what is going on? Why are you so angry? That's what I'm talking about. You're rude, you're disrespectful, and that's why I don't ever want to be home now. He hangs up the phone. Okay. Another phone incident. Now he's taken yet another trip to Houston, and yet again leaving my son and I without money. Now he decides he's going to give me the credit card information over the phone so I can download it as a digital card to use for a few groceries. I get to the store and the credit card purchase on the phone declines. And of course, it's embarrassing, but I step aside. I proceed to call him because I want to ask, hey, did you give me the correct number to the card? Perhaps I mistyped something. I don't know. He doesn't answer the phone. And I called back to back, maybe 2 or 3 more times, still no answer. So I just walked out the store and I sent him a text saying, hey, can you provide me the card information again? Because the card was declined. He didn't respond right away. So I sent my mom a message, also embarrassed as an educator, as a wife, to have to reach out to others for financial assistance. Finally, he called. All I said on the phone was, hey, what's going on? The card declined. I was hella embarrassed at the store. He does the same thing again. Look, I don't have time for this. I can't talk to you in front of her. In front of who, sir? Oh, my sister. I don't have time for this. You don't have time for what? I just need to make sure that the card information is correct so that the card doesn't decline so me and my kid can get something to eat. I don't feel like being embarrassed like this, Chauncey. I told you, I'm busy. You know I'm out here working. He hangs up the phone. Those are just a few of the weird phone exchanges that I now know took place in front of people to support the narrative that I wasn't aware of at the time. Right now, I'm going to get back into this church, which is the last thing for now. Then I'll move on to this man and how he really feels about his youngest child, because there was a lot of lies there as well. I was put in situations I wasn't even aware of as far as his youngest is concerned. I'm still figuring out this whole video thing because I do want to show text messages, emails. So that's what I'm currently working on as far as introducing those things to the videos. So just bear with me. I'm doing the best I can. I'm also working on so much as an educator. I'm trying to get my national board certification. I'm trying to get my reading specialist certification because, you need 1 million certifications to be paid appropriately in education. But anyway, for this church, COVID was the perfect reason to shut the church down and for it to go live. I want to get into how everything played out with the closing of the church. Once I figure out these software or streaming services, the next things that I'm going to upload is how James projects his feelings about his youngest child onto me. Again, I'm working diligently on that because I do want to provide those text messages and emails. Then I'm going to talk about the setup of him wanting me to talk to his dad's girlfriend after divorcing his wife. And also I'll be discussing the storage room. And the storage room is something that's very, very recent, but is going to give some context into the inner workings of a narcissistic, toxic person's mind. Okay. So the reason I'm discussing that is because my son and I have personal property in there, especially my son. My son has a lot of collector's items like rings, tennis shoes, and the both of us, we have things that can never be replaced. Okay, so this information again is important because based on the email that James sent me a week or so ago, he told me that he has taken all his things out of the storage with the exception of his clothes, and he's taking those things to his brother's house in DC. So when I asked, when I'll be able to go get the remainder of my things, I did reach out to him via email, and I CC'd my friend on it because I really don't want any direct contact with James at all. Not a conversation on the phone, in person, none of that. And he already has my friend's email. and phone, but he refused to contact her. So I made sure that the email that I sent inquiring about the storage room, that she was CC'd on it, and to also reiterate to him to, hey, contact her. But anyway, yesterday, which was Saturday, January 11th, James sent the email saying that it's taken the storage a while, I guess the storage staff a while, because of late fees. But he says that he'll catch up on those fees by January 26, 2025. So as far as the storage video is concerned and why it's important, I'll post that video either on the 27th or the 28th of January with an update. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch. It's been embarrassing, but again, my goal is to help men and women make better choices about the people that they decide to bring into their lives, especially for the sake of their sanity and the safety of their children, and making it normal to recognize and address abuse. Also addressing enablers, because a lot of what has taken place over the past decade with this person wouldn't have been possible without enablers. Okay, so please don't forget to hit the like button before you leave, and I appreciate it.